The Tale of Kazi and the Talking Drum. In the heart of the vast savanna, nestled between rolling hills and ancient baobab trees, lay the village of Harmony. The villagers lived in peace, guided by traditions passed down through generations. Music and storytelling were the soul of Harmony, with every evening culminating in songs around the communal fire. Among the villagers was a young boy named Kazi. Curious and kind-hearted, Kazi was known for his insatiable appetite for stories and his talent with the drum. His father, Baba Tand, was the village's master drummer, and he taught Kazi the rhythms that spoke of rain, harvest, and the tales of their ancestors. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Kazi wandered near the Whispering Woods, a place elders warned children to avoid after dusk. As he sat beneath a tree, he heard a faint melody, unlike any he'd known. Entranced, he followed the sound deeper into the woods. There, in a clearing bathed in moonlight, stood a drum unlike any other. It was adorned with carvings of animals and symbols, and it pulsed with a gentle glow. As Kazi approached, the drum spoke, "Young Kazi, your heart beats with the rhythm of truth. Will you accept the gift of the talking drum?" Surprised but unafraid, Kazi nodded. The drum continued, "With me, you can communicate with all beings, animals, trees, even the wind. But this gift comes with a responsibility. Harmony is threatened by a looming drought. You must journey to the mountain of echoes and seek the rainmaker's blessing." Determined to help his village, Kazi accepted the quest. The next morning, he informed Baba Tand and the village elders. Though worried, they recognized the importance of his mission and gave their blessings. Kazi set off with the talking drum strapped to his back. Along the way, he encountered various creatures. A perched lion who roared in frustration. Birds with drooping wings, unable to find water. Trees with wilted leaves whispering tales of the past. Using the talking drum, Kazi communicated with them, offering hope and gathering wisdom for his journey. The path to the mountain of echoes fraught with challenges. The river of doubt, a raging river that tested Kazi's confidence. By drumming a rhythm of courage, he calmed the waters and crossed safely. The desert of despair, endless suns that sapped his strength. Remembering the stories of resilience from his village, he played a rhythm of endurance, attracting a caravan of camels that guided him through. The Cave of Echoes, home to spirits of the past. Here, Kazi faced visions of failure and fear. By acknowledging his doubts and drumming a rhythm of truth, he gained clarity and strength. Atop the mountain, Kazi met the Rainmaker, an ethereal being composed of mist and light. The Rainmaker spoke, "Your journey shows the harmony between courage, wisdom, and compassion. Play the rhythm of unity." Kazi closed his eyes and let his heart guide his hands. The drum sang a melody that resonated with the earth and sky. Clouds gathered, and rain began to fall, quenching the land's thirst. Kazi returned to his village, greeted by joyous celebrations. The rivers flowed, crops flourished, and songs filled the air. The elders declared Kazi a guardian of traditions, and the talking drum was placed in the village square, a symbol of unity and the power of listening. From that day, children gathered around Kazi to hear tales of his journey, learning that with courage, empathy, and the willingness to listen, even the smallest voice can bring about great change. The curse of the talking drum. In the heart of the lush savanna, nestled between rolling hills and ancient baobab trees, lay the village of Ndimu. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, their days marked by the rhythms of the land and the melodies of traditional songs. Among them was a young boy named Kofi, known for his curiosity and adventurous spirit. Kofi lived with his parents, Adisa and Ama, who were respected elders in the community. They often cautioned Kofi about the dangers of venturing too far from the village, especially into the forbidden forest of Nyoka, a place shrouded in mystery and tales of ancient spirits. Despite his parents' warnings, Kofi's curiosity grew with each passing day. He had heard stories of a magical talking drum hidden deep within the forest, a drum that could grant immense knowledge and power to its possessor. The allure of such a treasure was too great for Kofi to resist. One morning, while his parents were attending a village meeting, Kofi slipped away and ventured into the forest. The dense canopy filtered the sunlight, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. Strange sounds echoed around him, but Kofi pressed on, determined to find the legendary drum. After hours of wandering, Kofi stumbled upon a clearing where an ancient drum rested atop a stone pedestal. Intricate carvings adorned its surface, and it seemed to pulse with a life of its own. As Kofi approached, the drum began to speak. "Young one," it intoned, "you have found me, the drum of wisdom. But knowledge comes at a price. Are you prepared to pay it?" Without hesitation, Kofi nodded. The drum instructed him to strike it thrice, and as he did, a surge of energy coursed through him. Visions of distant lands, forgotten languages, and ancient secrets flooded his mind. Overwhelmed, Kofi collapsed beside the drum. When Kofi awoke, it was nightfall. He hurried back to the village, eager to share his newfound knowledge. However, as he entered Ndimu, he noticed a change. The villagers looked at him with suspicion and fear. His parents, relieved to see him alive, were also wary. Kofi tried to explain his journey and the drum's power, but his words were jumbled, spoken in tongues unknown to the villagers. Realizing he could no longer communicate, Kofi panicked. The very knowledge he had sought had alienated him from his community. Days turned into weeks, and Kofi became increasingly isolated. The villagers believed he had been cursed by the spirits of the forest. His parents, heartbroken, sought the counsel of the village shaman, who confirmed their fears. "The boy has disobeyed sacred warnings and sought forbidden knowledge," the shaman declared. "Only by returning the drum and seeking forgiveness can he hope to lift the curse." Determined to make amends, Kofi journeyed back into the forest. Upon reaching the clearing, he found the drum waiting. He pleaded for forgiveness, expressing deep remorse for his disobedience. The drum responded, "True wisdom lies not in knowledge alone but in understanding and humility. You have learned this lesson. Return to your people and speak from the heart." As Kofi made his way back to Ndimu, he felt a change within. The cacophony of voices in his mind quieted, replaced by clarity. Upon arriving, he addressed the villagers, this time in their native tongue. He recounted his journey, his mistakes, and the lessons learned. The villagers listened intently, and a sense of understanding spread among them. Kofi's parents embraced him, tears of relief streaming down their faces. From that day forward, Kofi became a storyteller, sharing tales of caution and wisdom, emphasizing the importance of heeding parental guidance and respecting boundaries. Keto, the Foolish Boy and the Forest of Wisdom. In the heart of the lush green hills of Rwanda, nestled between rolling banana groves and misty valleys, lay the village of Nyabigoma. This village was renowned for its skilled drummers, vibrant dances, and the wisdom passed down through generations. Among its inhabitants lived a boy named Keto, whose name meant second-born twin. However, Keto was an only child, and his name was the least peculiar thing about him. Keto was known throughout Nyabigoma not for his talents or bravery, but for his remarkable ability to misunderstand even the simplest instructions. His mother, Mama Amina, a patient and kind woman, often found herself exasperated by her son's antics. Here are 9 of the most bewildering things Keto did. The salt incident. Mama Amina once asked Keto to fetch salt from the market. Instead, he returned with a handful of sand, claiming, "They both look the same, Mama." The firewood fiasco. Sent to collect firewood, Keto brought back a bundle of green banana leaves, insisting they were nature's firewood. The goat mishap. Told to tie the goat to the post, Keto tied it to his own leg. When asked why, he said, "This way, I won't lose it." The water war. Asked to fetch water, Keto filled the pot with air, explaining, "Air is lighter than water, so it's easier to carry." The cooking catastrophe. Instructed to peel cassava, Keto peeled bananas instead, arguing, "They're easier to peel." The market mix-up. Sent to buy a rooster, Keto returned with a duck, stating, "It quacks louder, it must be better." The clothing confusion. Told to hang clothes to dry, Keto hung them inside the house, reasoning, "The sun can see through the windows." The seedling slip. Asked to plant bean seeds, Keto planted them upside down, believing roots should touch the sky to grow faster. The message misdelivery. Sent to invite the village elder to dinner, Keto invited the village dog, saying, "He listens better than the elder." Despite these blunders, Keto's heart was pure. He never intended harm, his mind simply danced to a different rhythm. One day, after a particularly embarrassing incident where Keto tried to milk a male goat, the villagers laughed heartily, and Mama Amina sighed deeply. Feeling ashamed and misunderstood, Keto decided to run away. He believed that perhaps the forest, with its whispering trees and chirping birds, would understand him better. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the canopy thickened, and sunlight filtered through the leaves in golden beams. The forest was alive with sounds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of monkeys, and the gentle babble of a nearby brook. After hours of wandering, Keto grew tired and sat beneath a massive fig tree. As he rested, he heard a soft, melodic voice, "Why do you look so troubled, young one?" Startled, Keto looked around and saw a creature unlike any he had ever seen. It was a small, dwarf-like being with grass growing on its body, piercing eyes, and a wide mouth. It wore leaves and had tiny bells that jingled softly. "I am an Iloko," the creature said, "a guardian of this forest." Keto, though initially frightened, felt a strange sense of calm. He poured out his heart, sharing his tales of misunderstandings and the ridicule he faced. The Iloko listened intently and then said, "Wisdom isn't about knowing everything, it's about understanding and learning. Perhaps I can help you see the world differently." The Iloko led Keto to a clearing where 3 challenges awaited him, each designed to teach a lesson. Challenge 1: The Mirror Lake. The Iloko brought Keto to a serene lake that reflected the sky perfectly. "Look into the lake and tell me what you see," he instructed. "I see the sky, the clouds, and myself," Keto replied. "Now touch the water." As Keto did, the reflection shattered into ripples. Sometimes, our perceptions are distorted by our actions. To understand others, you must see beyond the surface, the Iloko explained. Challenge 2, the Whispering Winds. Next, they approached a grove where the wind created melodies as it passed through the trees. Listen carefully, said the Iloko. Keto closed his eyes and heard the wind's song. At first, it was just noise, but gradually, he discerned patterns and rhythms. Understanding comes from truly listening, not just hearing, the Iloko noted. Challenge 3, the Puzzle of Paths. Finally, they stood before 3 paths, each leading in different directions. Choose the path that leads home, the Iloko challenged. Keto thought deeply. One path was well-trodden, another overgrown, and the third had footprints leading both ways. Remembering his lessons, he chose the overgrown path, reasoning that the right path isn't always the obvious one. The Iloko smiled, "You've learned well." With newfound understanding, Keto returned to Nyabigoma. The villagers were surprised to see him and even more astonished by the change in him. When Mama Amina asked him to fetch water, he brought back a full pot without spilling a drop. Sent to buy salt, he returned with the correct item. Tasked with planting seeds, he did so meticulously. The villagers watched in awe as Keto, once the village fool, became a symbol of wisdom and understanding. He began sharing stories of his journey, teaching children the importance of listening, observing, and thinking before acting. The village, in turn, grew more patient and understanding, realizing that everyone learns at their own pace. And so, Keto's tale became a cherished story in Nyabigoma, a testament to the idea that with guidance and reflection, even the most misunderstood can find their path to wisdom. The Tale of Kofi the Boastful Hunter. In the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom, nestled between lush forests and rolling hills, lay the village of Nyambakia. This village was known for its skilled artisans, vibrant festivals, and, most notably, its exceptional hunters. Among them, one stood out, Kofi, a young man whose prowess with the bow and arrow was unmatched. From a tender age, Kofi exhibited an uncanny ability to track animals, interpret the subtlest signs in nature, and strike targets with impeccable precision. His father, a seasoned hunter, often marveled at his son's innate talent. By the time Kofi reached adulthood, tales of his hunting feats had spread beyond Nyambakia, reaching neighboring villages and even the royal court. However, with fame came pride. Kofi began to see himself as invincible. He strutted through the village with an air of superiority, often mocking fellow hunters and dismissing the advice of elders. "What can they teach me that I don't already know?" he would scoff. One fateful season, whispers of a monstrous lion began to circulate. This beast, larger and more ferocious than any seen before, had been terrorizing nearby settlements, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Crops were trampled, livestock vanished, and villagers lived in constant fear. The king, alarmed by these reports, summoned his council. "We must act swiftly," he declared. "Who among our warriors will confront this menace?" Without hesitation, Kofi stepped forward. "Your Majesty, I shall vanquish this beast. No creature can withstand my skill." The court murmured in approval, but the village elders exchanged worried glances. Elder Nana Kwame approached Kofi, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Remember, my son, pride precedes a fall. Approach with caution." Kofi brushed off the elder's hand. "Fear not, old man. I was born for this." Armed with his finest bow and a quiver full of arrows, Kofi embarked on his quest. The forest, dense and teeming with life, greeted him with its usual symphony of chirping birds and rustling leaves. As he ventured deeper, the signs of the lion's presence became evident: massive paw prints, clawed trees, and the eerie silence that blanketed certain areas. Along the way, Kofi encountered various animals: a wise tortoise, a chattering monkey, and a graceful gazelle. Each offered him advice. "Beware the lion's cunning," warned the tortoise. "Speed alone won't save you," chirped the monkey. "Sometimes, retreat is the better part of valor," advised the gazelle. Kofi laughed off their counsel. "I am the great hunter Kofi. No beast can outwit me." After days of tracking, Kofi finally came face to face with the lion. The beast was a magnificent creature, its golden mane shimmering in the dappled sunlight, eyes gleaming with intelligence. Kofi notched an arrow and took aim. But before he could release, the lion lunged with astonishing speed, knocking him off his feet. The hunter scrambled to his feet, but the lion had vanished into the underbrush. Shaken but undeterred, Kofi pursued the lion, only to fall into a concealed pit. Hours passed before he managed to climb out, bruised and humiliated. Realizing he had underestimated his opponent, Kofi set up camp to regroup. That night, the forest echoed with the lion's roars, a haunting reminder of his vulnerability. Humbled, Kofi decided to return to Nambakia. Upon arrival, he went straight to Elder Nana Kwame's hut. "I was wrong," Kofi admitted, his voice tinged with remorse. "I let pride cloud my judgment." The elder nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. Acknowledging one's flaws is the first step to true wisdom. Over the next few days, Kofi sat with the elders, absorbing their teachings. They spoke of patience, observation, and the importance of humility. Kofi listened intently, his previous arrogance replaced by genuine curiosity. Armed with newfound knowledge, Kofi ventured back into the forest. This time, he moved with caution, setting traps and studying the lion's patterns. He avoided direct confrontation, instead using strategy and patience. After several days, his efforts paid off. The lion, lured by bait, fell into a carefully concealed pit. Kofi approached the trapped beast, meeting its gaze. "I have no desire to kill you," he said softly. "Let this be a lesson for both of us." He released the lion, which disappeared into the forest without a backward glance. Kofi returned to Nambakia, not as a triumphant hunter, but as a wiser man. He shared his experiences with the villagers, emphasizing the importance of humility and continuous learning. His transformation inspired many, and Kofi became a revered teacher, guiding young hunters and ensuring that the lessons he learned would not be forgotten.